Could we theoretically use this for fixing sidewalk cracks before you get the weeds in them? Alrighty, it is time for another episode of our Strange Science on Mondays coming on here. But before we start, I just want to remind you all, if you're following us, a great place that you can go and give your support if you want nonpartisan science journalism, truthfully, not like Scientific American, which published a dumpster fire of an opinion piece recently, or Nature or Science, which have gone off the rails to be not nonpartisan any longer. I suggest you support SciWorthy, and one of the great ways you can do that is via SciWorthy on Locals at sciworthy.locals.com, where you can actually then jump in and give your support. So on Locals, the way it works, you can be a member for free and just lurk, or you can become a supporter here. And if you become a supporter, that unlocks all sorts of things like being able to post, to comment on other people's posts, and also to see content that is only available for supporters, like on SciWorthy is the SciWorthy Conversation Show that myself and Gina do, who we actually get into some interesting conversations, like our last one, which was on the whole 12 years and the deadlineism that comes with the 12 years, if you recall Ocasio-Cortez saying we have 12 years until the world ends. Kind of thing under climate change, which is not accurate. But things like that. And you can help keep SciWorthy independent. So you can do $3 a month, or you can give once, those kinds of things. So I encourage you to go over there and become a supporter of SciWorthy.locals.com. You can connect with me, other scientists and science enthusiasts who are there as supporters. SciWorthy.locals.com. Now back to the show. So, speaking of SciWorthy, this is on the SciWorthy website where we have this particular bit of strange science for Monday. A special kind of bacteria lets cement fix itself. Mineral-forming bacteria that grow best in fast-flowing liquid may be the glue that researchers need to close those cracks in underground. So this is underground cement, because, my next question was going to be, how do you keep is that going to conflict with the weeds that grow up through cement? Anyway. Let's see. Cement is one of those common building materials that you can find just about anywhere. When the cement starts to get cracked, fixing it is generally an easy task that involves widening the crack slightly before filling it with more cement. Now, having to fix a crack that is buried 1 kilometer underground. That is an issue that carbon storage researchers are trying to overcome. Carbon storage is the process by which carbon dioxide gas is pulled from the air and put into sealed underground wells that will hold the carbon dioxide for the foreseeable future. It is being considered as a way to help reduce the impact of high carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This has to do with the climate change side of things, actually, because carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas and one of the longest lived in the atmosphere, and which is why it's a concern. Anyway. Many different methods of fixing cracked cement in these deep underground wells are currently being investigated. However, the most innovative of these methods involves tiny organisms that can't be seen by the naked eye. In an effort to make these carbon storage wells safer and more effective for the long-term use, a team of scientists from the University of Montana decided to try a biological approach to fixing cracked storage wells. They wanted to know if the mineral, rock-like material, made by a specific type of bacteria, as Pasteuria, I don't know how to pronounce that, would be enough to stop carbon dioxide from leaking out of cracks in the wells. Furthermore, they wanted to find out the best way to grow the microbes so that the mineral material they would make would create the strongest possible seal against leaks. To do this, the researchers put a cement cylinder with a pre-made crack running down the middle into the container with 2 hoses. One hose was attached to the top of the container, the other was plugged to the bottom. These hoses would allow for fluid to flow down through the crack in the cylinder and out of the container. Next, these researchers would inject 3 fluids... Next, the researchers injected 3 fluids into the container in a specific order. These fluids would be used to establish the seal that would close off the crack and stop leaking fluids from escaping. The first fluid contained the bacteria, the second fluid contained the nutrients needed for the bacteria to grow, and the last to be injected was a fluid rich in calcium. The calcium-rich fluid was especially important because it provided the building blocks for the mineral called calcite that the microbes would produce to fix the crack in the cement cylinder. The researchers ran a few different experiments using different fluid flow speeds and amount of nutrients and calcium to see which combination worked the best. They monitored how well the crack was being sealed by periodically scanning the fracture using x-rays, the way that a doctor scans a broken bone. They discovered that the bacteria grew better and made more complete seal of the crack when the flow rates of the injected fluids were fast. Injecting more of the nutrient fluid also helped the bacteria to grow better, resulting in more calcite buildup, leading to an improved seal. Refining this biocement method of sealing cracks in a deep well cement would allow for a faster, safer, and more effective fix. Such a method is desperately needed as cracks in either natural gas and carbon storage wells could leak harmful materials into underground freshwater sources. If these calcite-forming microbes live up to what researchers expect of them, they may be the glue that will hold carbon storage wells together far in the future. Intriguing. And some of the strange things that you don't expect science to be doing. So it's effectively bacteria that, as they are growing and evolving, spit out rock? Am I understanding that right? Somebody help me. I don't honestly know if I have that quite right, but I think I do from reading it. Not my area of expertise necessarily, but it sounds like it's about right. Interesting. I'm hearkening back to the old days where I'm recalling as my mother tells me about yeast farting gas, and that causes the expansion. Anyway, that's an old joke from childhood. They discovered that the bacteria grew and made sweet. So here's a bunch of fun questions that maybe we could ask about this, because the storage in the carbon cylinders is important because of that idea of carbon capture and storage is to help reduce issues around the environment. Could be used for other things too. The problem that I could see happening is, what if there's a sudden, like an earthquake or something? The concrete cylinders that gas is trapped in, you probably will utterly destroy them, and it's just a question of how quickly they would get out. So things like that. Could we theoretically use this for fixing sidewalk cracks before you get the weeds in them? And there's another question. How would that work? Because a bunch of times, like cracks in sidewalks or cracks in other things are going because of roots that are growing through and pushing dirt when they grow. So how are you going to balance that? Because there's a whole microbe thing going on there too, and the last thing you want to do is necessarily mess with microbes underground, because soil microbes are really, really important for growth of different plants and what have you. They keep finding more and more of that. So, interesting. Not disgusting compared to the last two. Admittedly, the last two episodes of this were kind of disgusting, but this is much more interesting. And this is strange things that you would not expect happens from scientific research. But anyway, this has been your Strange Science on a Monday. If you like the video, hit the like button on the way out the door. Comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. Share the video. And of course, please come on over and check out SciWorthy.locals.com. It will be well worth your time. Let's see. That's it for now. That's the end of Strange Science on a Monday. Let me know how you like the series, if there's any other strange science topics you would like me to get into. Until next time, then, I am Adrian, and I hope you stay curious.